So why exactly do we procrastinate? What happens in our minds that we have such an awful habit? Can this procrastination end? Does this act of self-destruction have a solution? Yes, of course. In this book, you will learn not just one solution, you will learn 17. This book is about the life hacks that you can do to stop procrastinating. You will also learn lots of stories from people who applied these hacks and how they changed. Let's get started. A young, mentally disabled man used to injure his fingers everywhere. He'd do it over and over again, lots of times. Why? Because he couldn't predict the future. He was fun at parties, though. He was fun to talk to, and he would act as though his actions had no consequences. And in his mind, they definitely didn't have any consequences. Despite his condition, that young man never procrastinated, not once in his life. Why? Because people procrastinate when they think of the consequences. And in that man's unique brain, it was impossible to see the consequences. Whenever he had a task, he would just do it. He doesn't think whether he's going to enjoy it or not. He doesn't overthink it. He just takes action. Imagine that you witness your friend hurting her fingers while cutting some fruit. You feed that image to your brain, and eventually you get scared of cutting fruits again. You have a task that you must do, but you never actually do it. You're always afraid of something. You wonder, what if you screw up? What if you don't do it right? What if you don't enjoy it? So it seems that procrastination is the burden that everyone needs to carry around. We think and think and think. We overthink every tiny detail until we are left with no time to actually do the task. But there's a solution. It's to develop the next action habit. Joshua has a huge task ahead of him. His boss asked him to organize 3,000 pictures according to their subject. Joshua has to organize them into several folders: the sports section, celebrities, food and beverages, etc. Such a huge task could be overwhelming. It seems impossible to choose a section to start from. But you know what Joshua does? He breaks that huge task into smaller ones. Joshua first divides the 3,000 pictures into hundreds, see? Now, he doesn't have to deal with all the pictures. He just had to organize the first 100. Joshua continues to the next 100 until he finished the whole task, even before the deadline. Nothing changed. The 3,000 picture task still had 3,000 pictures in it. But what changed is Joshua's way of dealing with it. He tricked his brain into thinking that the task is just easy and small. Joshua chunked it into many small pieces until he got the whole task done. And you know what? Physics played a huge role in that. Newton's first law states that a body at rest will remain at rest unless a force acts on it. It also means that a body in motion will stay in motion unless something happens, a force that will stop it from moving. When you procrastinate, you'll continue doing so unless something changes. What you need is momentum to push you into doing stuff. The same thing happens if you accomplish one single task. When you finish a task, you're making momentum on your resting brain. You push it to finish another task, and then another, and so on. The trick here is that you should break down the overwhelming task into smaller ones. You need to make your brain think that the big task is easy, that it is doable. You need to shift your focus from something that your brain perceives as impossible to something that is truly possible. And once you break down the big task into smaller ones, take the next action. Do the smallest task first. Keep doing the small tasks over and over again until the whole project is done. Keep your momentum going. Even though you broke down your tasks into smaller ones, sometimes you might still find yourself lagging behind. Examples of these are a short email that you haven't answered, or a laundry that was not done, etc. Eventually, you find yourself locked in a chain of small tasks that pile up to become a huge task. So what do? You can apply the 2-minute rule. If a task requires less than 2 minutes to be done, do it immediately. Don't wait. Don't let it pile up. If you want to eat healthy, pick up a fruit and eat it. It won't take a minute. Do that every day, and you'll find yourself more likely to stick to that routine. Thanks to Newton's first law of motion, take, for example, a guy named Mark. When he first wrote a to-do list, he put down tasks such as change your car's windows. But Mark found out that even though he had a to-do list, he didn't actually do anything on it. Mark then decided to make his list more interesting. He realized that his previous list was boring. The task, change your car's windows, is a recipe for procrastination. It's demotivating. To make it more doable, Mark replaced that task with call the store to know the prices of car windows. He also wrote, look for the nearest store and go there. When you make a to-do list, you need to make sure that it's specific enough to make you want to do it. You need to give precise and clear instructions for yourself. Vague statements and unclear goals are difficult to follow. Which task looks more interesting? Change your car's windows or call the nearest store and ask for prices? Which one seems more doable and less likely to be procrastinated? Now you know the answer. Anthony Trollope was a successful writer in the 19th century. He wrote 47 novels, 18 plays, and many other things. The surprising thing here is that Anthony did all that while working a regular 9-to-5 job. How did he do it? He accomplished this by setting macro goals and micro quotas. Anthony's macro goal was to write a novel, of course. His micro quotas, however, are what made him different. Anthony set a time block for himself every single day. He would wake up and be at his desk at exactly 5:30 in the morning and stop writing at 8:30. He divided his time into 15-minute blocks. He had to write 250 words in every block of time, which would give him 1,000 words every hour and a total of 10 pages every day. At this rate, Anthony could finish 3 novels per year. What makes people procrastinate is that they don't see an end in sight. Procrastinating seems like you're just swimming in an open ocean and you cannot see the shore. So naturally, you lose motivation and eventually quit. What Anthony's 15-minute micro quotas did for him was outstanding. They provided him with a sense of accomplishment. Every 15 minutes his brain rewarded him with energy and satisfaction because he completed the tiny amount of 250 words. That's what you need to do. You need to have an end in sight. It's something huge. That's what we call a macro goal. And then divide the steps you need to do to achieve that into small but powerful micro quotas. Remember to set time blocks for each micro quota and commit to that. Nowadays, there are many tools that can help you keep all the distractions away during your time block. You can use Go Fucking Work. It is a website time blocker that prevents you from doing anything else other than the thing you're supposed to do. In that way, you'll ensure that you get a sense of accomplishment whenever you finish even one micro quota. That is better than waiting to finish the whole macro goal to feel good about yourself. Time blocks also help you to become more purposeful and productive. They allow you to specify what exactly you need to do at what time and in what place. By using time blocks, you will realize that there is a right place and right time for everything. Linda is a manager. She says that she's most productive when she is on board an international flight. Linda explains that whenever she's on a trip somewhere, she gets so productive during that flight, and she finishes a lot of tasks that she has planned. Why? It's because she is making use of the butt-in-chair method. The butt-in-chair method means that you should literally put your butt in a chair and stay right there for a specific amount of time. Even if you don't do anything, just sit there without any distractions. The trick here is that eventually you'll find yourself doing exactly what you wanted to do. Fortunately, that method doesn't have to happen only when you're on an international flight. You can apply the butt-in-chair method in your office or your desk at home. Put your phone in airplane mode and keep it away from you. Put your butt in the chair and sit properly in front of your desk. Set a time for how long you need to accomplish the task. Do these techniques every time you want to get something done. Eventually, you'll find yourself actually doing it. The author, Dominic Mann, says that he encounters a big problem when he needs to get something done. When he sits in front of his computer, he finds himself Googling what Donald Trump did today. Why do cats purr? Or did Neil Armstrong really go to the moon? Then, Dominic realizes that he just wasted 30 minutes of his time browsing useless articles. Research shows that these little distractions do not only waste your time, they also make it difficult for you to focus on your task. You waste another 25 minutes trying to focus on what you really have to do. So, how did Dominic solve the problem? Whenever he gets distracted, Dominic writes it down in a distraction to-do list. What do you do in this distraction to-do list? You write down the task you really need to do. You write down that you shouldn't get distracted or that you should focus, focus, focus. Writing the distraction to-do list will help you to get back on track. That doesn't work for me. I find it super hard to devote a specific time block to do something, says Tyson. It's impossible. I can't put my phone in airplane mode. What if my boss calls me? I might get fired, says Carol. Can you relate with Tyson and Carol? Then you can apply the 10 plus 2 x 5 method. This method simply means that you set a timer for 10 minutes and start working. You focus only on the task you need to get done for 10 minutes. Then when the timer rings, you do whatever you want for 2 minutes. You can check Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, etc. After that 2 minutes, you go back to your task again. You do the 10 minutes plus 2 minutes routine for 4 more times. That is what X5 stands for. This brings you a total of 5 10-minute bursts of work and 5 2-minute breaks. 10 plus 2, X5 is equal to 1 whole productive hour. What this method does is that it makes you look forward to the next break and then look forward to going back to work. It's nice to feel productive, right? Do you want to know what's even better? It's meeting your deadlines. This must have happened to you. You had an all-nighter before an exam so that you could finish. There's a deadline, and that deadline is your test. If you don't finish studying, then you're screwed. So if you want to get something done, create your own deadline. Even if the task doesn't really have a deadline, you should create one for yourself to make sure that you achieve it. Perfection kills. Xerox missed out on the chance to become the most successful company in the world. Why? Because of perfection. In 1973, Xerox made a personal computer called Alto. It was impressive at that time, yet Xerox chose not to release it. The big bosses waited to put more impressive technology in it. They wanted it to be perfect. Xerox released Alto in 1981 at the cost of $50,000. Meanwhile, IBM released a PC that was far from perfect and didn't have all the latest technologies. But IBM's PC came at a much lower price, which is $1,565. Thus, IBM succeeded more. Google learned from Xerox's mistake. Google released Gmail in 2005, and it was labeled beta until 2009. Google had 4 years of running an incomplete product, yet in those 4 years, Gmail became one of the most successful email services on Earth. The point here is that something is always better than nothing. You cannot edit an empty page. Start on whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can edit your project and improve it along the way. Procrastination is awful. It lets so many tasks pile up until you simply don't have the will to do them anymore. In this summary, you learned 17 hacks that can finally stop you from procrastinating. Let's recap all of them. 1. Intelligent people do not procrastinate. 2. Develop the next action habit. 3. Build momentum. 4. Make an interesting to-do list. 5. Use the 2-minute rule. 6. Set your macro goals and micro quotas. 7. Use time blocks. 8. Put your butt in the chair. 9. Turn the airplane mode on. 10. Write your distraction to-do list. 11. Remember the 10 plus 2 x 5 method. 12. Use the power of deadlines. 13. Do not be a perfectionist. 14. Procrastinate productively. 15. Visualize the process. 16. Do not say I can't. 17. Outsource or ask for help. Hopefully you can apply a few anti-procrastination hacks in your life. Never say you can't do it. Tell yourself that, I don't want to procrastinate. If you are a big procrastinator, believe that you can change. Those who have read this book made a great improvement in their lives. Now that you know the 17 hacks, it's time to get moving. Thank you for watching our video on beating procrastination. We hope you found these 17 hacks useful and are ready to put them into action. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.